Alright, the first one up, we're going to make a cup of strawberries. I'm going to make a mess here. We're going to take 1 cup of strawberries. We're going to add 3/4 cup of water. So we're going to do this exact here. I have this is cold water. We'll see if this can all fit in here. When I do these tests, I like to use a lot of my camping equipment. One of my sort of all-time favorite camping spoons is, I believe it's Sea to Summit. It's the long-handled one. This is the, not the titanium, but actually some sort of anodized aluminum one. And make sure they're all in the water. We're just going to let these soak for a couple minutes. But I really enjoy the flat tip. You didn't think you'd get a lesson on silverware today, did you? But we're testing some other stuff out. Flat tip really allows you to scrape out everything out of the bowl or the bag, whatever you're eating out. And of course, the long handle allows you to not get your hands mucked up if you're, eating out of some of the Mountain House meals or an MRE or whatnot. So we'll bring you back in a couple minutes. All right, next up is going to be the powdered milk. And the way I usually make powdered milk is I have a small Nalgene container or something with a screw-on lid. It allows me to really make sure that it gets mixed well. If you're trying to mix this in the field or anything and you're using a spoon, it really isn't very effective. And if you're trying to mix it in a bowl, you can't really shake it. So I always use some sort of small screw-tight container. This number 10 can will make 5 gallons, and that sort of surprised me. What we're going to do is, it's actually going to take 2 tablespoons to a cup of cold water. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go toss this in the fridge after we mix it, and we'll have it with some of the other stuff that we're making today. All right. Get it nice and mixed up, and then put it in the fridge. Like I said, allows it to kind of settle and mix, and also gets the air bubbles that we just created, kind of settles the milk out. Otherwise it'll be kind of frothy. But I will go toss that in the fridge and bring it back. Alright, these next 3, I've got some water on the stove. We're going to wait till we get some hot water. But the sweet corn is basically a 1-to-1. It says 1 cup. I'm not going to make quite that. I'm going to do a 1/2 cup, and then I'll add a 1/2 cup of basically boiling water off the stove. Now the powdered eggs is a little different. It is 1 tablespoon of the powdered egg mix to 2 tablespoons of water. We're going to mix that together. And then the beef just says soak 5 to 10 minutes in hot water. So let's do 1/3 cup of the beef, and when I get the hot water, I'll bring you back. Alright, while we're waiting for the water to boil for those other 3, get into the potato chunks. There's actually 2 ways you can do this according to here. 1 cup of the potato chunks to 4 cups, so 1-to-4 ratio. Hot water 15 to 20 minutes, basically boiling them, cooking them. And you can also do it soaking the same ratio, 1-to-4, for 2 to 3 hours in cold water. Basically no cook recipe. We're going to modify it slightly today. And since it's a 1-to-4 ratio, I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of potato chunks. And what I'm doing is I'm putting them in a thermos container. If I can get them all in there. Thermos container. I use these especially for like lentils, things like that. I can just put hot water in them, put the lid on there, and just basically let them cook. The added benefit to the small little thermos, I like the wide mouth so I can get in there and clean it as opposed to a regular thermos. Also, the little short ones make good meal sizes, plus I can clean the bottom with a rag, which is helpful because usually most people don't cook in these. The nice lid, and it also has a spoon, which I don't usually use because I usually am planning and bring my own spoon, but it's nice that it has its little unfoldable spoon, which is kind of cool. And that just doesn't take up any more room, it just sits in the lid. So when we get the boiling water, this is going to get a cup of boiling water. We're going to screw it back on. We're going to get a half cup to half cup of the corn, 2 tablespoons of water to 1 tablespoon of the egg mix, and then we're just going to cover the beef and let it rehydrate. So we will wait until I get some water, and I will bring you back. Well, we're waiting for the water to come to a boil, and we were talking about silverware earlier. 2 new little pieces of gear that will be in the testing. Haven't done a video, just got them this week. One is a zebra spoon. It's very like a Chinese spoon, very deep cup, kind of short handle. The maker of the zebra pots, a lot of bushcrafters familiar with those. We'll be testing that one out. Second is the very cool little product. They've had it out for a while, but it's new and black. This is a Columbia River knife and tool. It's called the Eaton tool. It's very similar to a spork. You probably won't be able to see this on there, but has longer teeth, so you can actually kind of stab your food and pick it up. Like if it's a carrot or hot dog weenie or something out, you can actually kind of stab it with these longer teeth. Little finger hole lightens it up and allows you to kind of use it pretty well. You can actually grab around it. It's got a nice feel for it for how small it is. The side is sort of a flat blade screwdriver. It does have a bottle opener on the side, and then there's 3 these are metric, which is the only bummer, hex wrenches essentially. And I initially thought maybe you could use the larger one for some of the scope tools, like for your AR, but it doesn't fit in the ones I've got, so I doubt it'll fit the other ones because I think they're almost a normal size. But again, the big problem with the sporks, they're not perfect, and that's why I was like the Light My Fire spork, is you had a spoon and the fork on the other side. Is when you're eating in your bowl and you're trying to get everything out, those forks at the end don't allow you to really get all around the bowl. You have to use the side. Well, and if you're using the side in a bowl like this, you can't really get around the whole thing. So plus and minuses. I bought it initially to keep a nice small spoon, multi-tool sort of thing in with the canteen set. It's a nice short stubby size. Now I do have the shorter stubby size of the of this one, which I love, and it works out pretty well. But you know, new stuff. I actually got these 2 at goinggear.com. It's usually where I get a lot of my Mish metal rods and stuff like that, and they have pretty good deals once in a while. I know Rob at Canteen Shop will be carrying this one, so look for Canteen Shop. Yeah, that's about it. I'll go check the water and bring you back. Alright, we're back. I'm basically using the Snow Peak. Still use Snow Peak quite a bit. Let's see, we did a half a cup of corn, so we'll do a half a cup of water into the corn. So another half a cup on the meat, give it covered up. Need 2 tablespoons in the eggs. And let's put a full cup in with the potato. And give those a little swirl. Get the lid on. We will set those aside for now, and try out the zebra here. This is the egg mixture. Smells a little eggy. Kind of pressing it against the side, see if I can get some of the lumps out. Let that sit there. Interesting. It's got a pretty good flavor to it. It actually, some of the yolk, yellower parts, stick to the spoon just like a yolk does. We'll let that reconstitute. Give the corn a stir. And make sure we got the TVP. And basically we're going to Just kind of let those hang out. Alright, it's been 10 minutes. We're going to start with the strawberries. I won't do you the injustice of watching me eat or anything like that, but I'm kind of curious. Now, there was some extra liquid in here that I drained off some. I kept some of it. Obviously, if it's a real survival situation, you can be probably drinking all the water that you got in there, but I think it would take a little bit less water than a cup. Those are actually really good. A little bit softer, don't quite have the texture than a regular strawberry, but the sweetness is there. They're even a little tart. Very good. I would say you could easily do a cup of berries to a half cup of water, though. If you're going to be cooking with them, probably not a big deal. That's impressive. It tastes just like it smells, which was amazing, really. There's some extra water in here. But pour off the extra water to the corn. The corn's not bad. I don't know if you can hear it. It still kind of sounds funny to move it around. The flavor is really good. The texture, a little squishy. But the flavor is amazing. It really is. That's great. Well, the egg I'm a little hesitant to just try flat out, so I might just taste it a little bit. It tasted really good, but as you can see, it's still watery. So, not really sure. I might have to look more into that. This was 1 tablespoon of water, or of egg mix, to 2 tablespoons of water. So that's a 2-to-1 mix over the top. Let's make sure I didn't read the directions wrong. To reconstitute 1 egg, mix 1 tablespoon of Thrive whole egg with 2 tablespoons of water. Used for any recipes that calls for eggs. So I don't think it's really designed to be more of like a scrambled egg. Obviously, it's a powdered substance, so you can mix it and bake with it. It really, again, the flavor is great. The texture, obviously, you wouldn't want to eat liquid eggs, but it almost tastes exactly like eggs. So I don't know. I would say that's 3 for 3. That's pretty impressive. Let's see. Textured beef. Now I just put a half cup in here, and there isn't much liquid, but it's got a nice color to it. Almost kind of like a beef broth. Again, I don't see any beans on here. I think that's just the V. That's the meat and bean section for proteins. It's got good flavor. It's I don't know if you can see that in there. That's not bad. It's not terrific. Now they do have some freeze-dried meat available also, not the textured protein, which I think I would prefer. I think we'll try this in some cooking recipes and see how it goes. Let me go grab the milk and I'll be back. Alright, now it hasn't been that long. Usually I let powdered milk sit overnight. Kind of get that frothiness out of them. Just let them sit. They seem to do a whole lot better. Doesn't have any weird odor or anything. It looks great. It's not see-through or anything. You can see that. That's impressive. I'm very impressed. It doesn't have any of that slight, well, powdered milk flavor, really. That's a winner. Honestly, I can say that's pretty good. The eggs were a little disappointing, but obviously using that for baking. Textured protein's not my favorite, but if you're using it in a meal, obviously gives you a good amount of protein. The strawberries were great. Corn, the flavor is great. The texture is not so great. You don't get that crunchiness of canned corn. I mean, you could easily get a ton of, little cans. I think would serve you a little better in there. But great for camping and stuff. The potatoes. Let's see. It's been about 15 minutes on the potatoes. I think I got that tighter than I thought. Still steamy. I didn't think they'd be done. They are. It's actually still hot enough that I have to blow on it. Pretty bland, but it's potato chunks. It's not added to anything. Let's see if I can drain the water off here. Get them out of there so you can actually see them. Hopefully the lighting in here is good. They're little chunks. I think they might have a little bit more rehydrated into because they still have kind of that odd sunken in square shape. But yeah, not bad. Again, used with other things. If I put all these together, and let's put a little bit egg mixture in here. Help thicken it up a little bit. And then let's not forget a little bit of salt. It's got some flavors. Pull this off here. Let's use a little garlic salt. If I get the plastic off. This one I have sitting on my shelf next to me here. My other one was quite a few years old, so went and bought another one of these little multi-spice things. Helps liven up any of your survival pantry stuff, and it's small enough you can take camping. Let's put a little pepper in there. I'm a big pepper fan. Not much salt fan, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, so we made ourselves a quick meal. Potatoes, corn, and beef. That's pretty tasty. Get rid of some other crap here. That's pretty impressive. The flavor is really good. It's almost like I just cooked it in sort of a beef bouillon cube. It's got a really good beef flavor, but when you're eating it with the potatoes, even have more texture than the DVP stuff does. So it's hard to say, but I'm fairly impressed so far. Yeah, I would have to say that I think I'm going to go ahead and get the 6 months and try some of those. It impressed me enough. The instant milk, I think, was hands down the biggest shocker. The rest of it is decent. It's great. Textured protein, not so much. I'll have to look in the 6 months to see what the textured protein is in there. What do you guys might ask? None of the cans are crushed. It's their. Let me bring it up here. I'm pointing to the labels they have on here aren't on here very well. They're kind of loose, and some of them are jacked up. The cans aren't dented. Cans were in perfect shape when I got them, but their labeling needs a little work. But other than that, very impressed. Now, they do have a couple specialty ones. I know you can get one which it's called protein and wheat or something like that. You get 3 white winter wheats and 3 different proteins. They have a baking one, which is basically the powdered sugar and the powdered eggs, and I think salt and flour and a few things like that. So you can get a couple of these small sample 6-can boxes, which is a pretty neat technique to allow people to kind of get introduced to some of that for under $100. They did have one that was all protein. It was 6 cans, and I think you got maybe 3 of the textured proteins and maybe 3 of the freeze-dried ones. If I remember that was $200 for the 6 of them. And then they have a cheese one, and I don't know if there is any cheese in the 6-month supply. I'll have to look. I know you get a dessert, a lot of vegetables, breakfast things. So I will have to go back and look on that. But yeah, the cheese one looked interesting. It was also $200, but it was sounded good. Well, I'm going to give Thrive 2 thumbs up on that. That was, I guess, better than I expected. Better than, I don't know, the Eat Foods Direct was good. They've got really good flavors, but again, they're also whole meals. So that's appealing to a lot of people that don't have to worry about recipes and cooking things. In a, it hits the fan scenario, they can just throw some water in there and cook it. And that has its place. But really, I think to bring the cost of your overall food bill down and to practice with a lot of these things, we'll go ahead and do some recipes with just what I got. I already, think you can do a couple of good things, some stews, and maybe we'll do an ice cream later, and yeah, just see how it goes. You saw none of that was really cooked. It was all just with hot water. Everything reconstitutes, even the potatoes. 20 minutes I didn't use any fuel other than the initial boil of the 2 cups. Half cup went to the meat, half cup to the corn, a cup to the potatoes, and a couple tablespoons to the eggs, and I'd say that's pretty impressive. But these are initial thoughts, and we'll play around with them this week and see what we can come up with. Thanks for watching.